This afternoon, we are going to be learning about some real life cases and what has been going on in our country. We've got some very good stories, interesting stories to listen to. Normal mothers who have been fighting against this insidious sex education. So without further ado, Kat Watkins is going to be introducing everybody now for the next part. She's going to be interviewing everyone. Now, this is our very last gig that we call Kat Watkins because she's getting married in March. Okay, so I'll pass you on to Kat. Thank you, Kat.
All right, now. Hello, everyone. It's good to see everyone here. It's a really good turnout. Right, so first off, we got two mums with us today. And the first one, Chels, do you want to come on up, love? And Darren to sit with her, who helped her through this case as well. And I know Chelsea is a bit nervous, but you're absolutely fine, love. Come and have a seat. Give him a round of applause, everybody. Thank you for coming up. Obviously, Darren is sat with Chelsea because Chelsea has gone through, I would say, that was it the last 2 years, Chelsea? 2 years.
It was a year ago, and we started a year.
Yeah. So 2 years this case has been going on. And Chelsea's son at the time would have been 5. He's now 7. So Paul mentioned earlier about the court case that we had to go through. And within that court case, there were sections where you could disapply in certain circumstances if there's a special needs child, or the head teacher can disapply at their discretion. So I'm just going to so basically, if you just start from the beginning. Obviously, Chelsea, you found out about the RSE and you were concerned for your son being special needs. And obviously, the content, you'd seen it and, you were worried. So there's a lot that went on in this case, I got to be honest, in terms of massive corruption, I would say, really, all the way through. So they're just going to talk about... We're not going to go through all that. Don't worry, we're not going to go through all that. But it is just there just as a point of reference to show you what we actually had to do. So obviously this was the case. This was the tribunal. We went to tribunal stage in the end. Just before that, though, Charles, would you mind just giving a little rundown about what it got before we got to the tribunal, like what led to it?
Yes, so my little boy is mentally disabled, and I'd already been following Kim and Kath and the team. I knew what was coming, and I went to he had an IDP meeting, which is individual development plan meeting, which is what all disabled children are entitled to. And I asked him if he could be removed from some of the bits of the sex education that were inappropriate for him. At the time, they said yes, and then 2 weeks later, they acted as if that whole meeting hadn't even happened and told me that I wasn't allowed to remove him from any of the RSE lessons, and it was mandatory, and there was nothing they could do about it. It was just...
Have we got a slide for that, Dar? Have you got a slide for...
I can pull that up though anyway.
Okay.
It's no problem.
Yeah.
So that was when I went to Kim, then, who introduced me to Darren. And then we played letter tennis, didn't we, Dar, for a long time. And I was just getting complete refusal to remove him from any of the content at all.
Well, they were basically making you out to be a bit of a crazy parent,
Protective, none of the things were going to be taught that I was saying that I wanted him taken out of. They were saying that they had no legal grounds to take him out. They acted as if the legislation didn't exist that we had given.
Off the mic, Dar.
So the Curriculum and Assessment Wales Act 2021, we've got a recording where they're actually saying, well, maybe that legislation doesn't actually apply in Wales, even though it's the Curriculum and Assessment Wales Act. But we built, and like I say, that was the case that we put in. Obviously, we're not going to read from it. We've picked out about 10...
Microphone.
We've picked out about 10 slides just to keep it brief. And going back to what Paul said, where people need to be brave, I just want to put in that Chelsea is one of the bravest people.
Yes, she absolutely is.
Some of the slides will demonstrate sort of how everybody is now against her. But again, advice from Paul, the people who stand up to him are the ones who won't get punished at the end of the day. No, we're not. We're through that now. But no, one of the bravest people I met, and still going.
Yeah, still going.
Still fighting.
So what's the...
You're upset.
I know, yeah.
Right.
So let's have a look at these slides, what you've got here for us.
This was the first official refusal letter that we had back from the local authority.
Microphone.
Do you want the-
No, you carry
This was the first official refusal response that we had back from the local authority. And there's certain bits of it, it just fried my brain for weeks. I was reading it over and over again. It was nonsense, particularly the third paragraph. The legal advice received in relation to the RSE curriculum confirms that the Education Tribunal for Wales does not have jurisdiction in relation to this. We hadn't even gone to the Education Tribunal Wales. It was just nonsense, and we told them such. Right, and we've only got 15 minutes, haven't we?
Yeah.
Hold
So,
it close to your mouth.
whilst this was going on, because everything was taking time. So then Chelsea, under a different section of the legislation, put a request into the headmaster, and this is where it gets really devious.
Yeah.
Head mistress.
Yeah. So it was section 42.
Section 42.
Section 42 of the Wales Act. So the head teacher has the right to withdraw the children from the RSE content. But as you can see here, she wrote me a letter back to say that they had no legal ground to remove him from any of the content at all. But we found out, if you go to slide
So
4.
that middle paragraph. No, go on. This came in a. Sorry. This was accidentally came to us. We thought that this originally was from the legal department because they kept telling us they were waiting for legal advice, and that letter would imply that they had sought legal advice and given us legal advice. This email here, as you can see from the bottom, is from the head of governor support, nothing to do with the legal team. And the letter you just previously seen is a copy and paste of his middle paragraph. Dear Miss Downes, I can confirm that the following advice from the local authority and their response to your complaints, blah, 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 is there's no legal grounds to do so. So they were spinning a yarn. They hadn't sought legal advice at all. They were just telling porky pies. Here again, we've got...
Microphone there.
Oh, no, go on. Do you want to do something? I'm doing all the talking.
That's okay. I don't mind. Yeah, this is the Central South Consortium. So it basically, we're just demonstrating how everybody just buckled down together, the local authority, the school, the governing bodies, all of them were just trying desperately to tell me whatever they could, basically.
To know, it's not
to make
allowed
me
to,
believe that I had no leg to stand on and that my son wasn't going to be removed from any of the lesson content.
And back to what Kim said earlier, where the responsibility is on the head, that where I've highlighted the middle paragraph. This is from the Central South Consortium, who somebody else in here mentioned when they were speaking earlier as well. This is something I imagine teachers would use their professional judgment and expertise to do. Well, none of them have been trained in the psychological portions of gender and so on and so forth. So how they can use their judgment, I do not know. Welsh Government, you want to do this one?
This email, we weren't supposed to read this. So what happened was it was a mistake on their part. We got sent an email that was supposed to go to their legal team by accident, which works out pretty well for us.
They threatened us to delete
Microphone.
They threatened us to delete it, and we told them in no uncertain terms that this was now evidence and we were keeping it. They went to their legal team. They went to their legal team to seek further advice and came back with nothing other than crickets. So Go on. No, go on.
So this is from the Welsh government. So this is how far and how hard they tried to stop my son being taken out of this lesson. So this is the Welsh government, basically in a nutshell, telling was it the CSE or the local authority, the school, all of them, that in layman's terms, basically you can remove your children from the lesson, but tell mum this instead, and then spin me a yarn, basically.
It says there, look, suggest the lines below instead. Thanks.
And this is the Welsh government saying this.
They actually, so in the Isherwood case, which Paul fought, she quotes case law, and that's what they're wrongly quoting with the hour a week, the piano lesson. That's just totally not what the case law was about. They're misquoting that case law to fit their narrative, basically.
But that was obviously sent to them by accident.
So that was the Welsh government.
To their detriment, but this is the sort of thing that we're dealing with.
And if you keep at them, you tend to get all of these documents, sometimes intentionally, sometimes by accident. But, you know, the likes of Chelsea, she's like a dog with a bone. And we've turned up some wonderful stuff. In all fair, we have. And still to this day. Right. This one is...
Oh, yeah.
Which one is this? Yeah. Oh, right. This one is, this is, again, the Central South Consortium. They're just saying that they're going to have to synthesise a response for Chelsea. And now, to me, you can
just
argue
make it up.
this, it's a bit ambiguous, but to me, to synthesise something is to just make it up. Again, the Central South Consortium, these advise a lot of the schools, the local authorities, and therefore the schools in South Wales. They're quite a big organisation. We have John. Okay. So this is where they're getting a bit nervous now, where the parent has threatened the school with legal action. They're all passing it around. You can see from lots of emails, Chelsea is the enemy. They didn't believe that she was going to be taking legal action. And this, I mean, we've got hordes of stuff here. You know, we've just tried to pick a small food to fit into a quarter of an hour. This one.
This is terrible. This one is terrible.
No, this one. Kim likes this one as well. This is the frankly pointless email. This is from the local authority, the Vale of Glamorgan Council. Hopefully, continued discussions with mum will make mum see that such an approach is frankly pointless. Bit frustrating, the Welsh Government have pointed her in this direction, as it's likely to waste everybody's time.
Frankly, can I just say, frankly pointless. This was a 5-year-old boy with a severely mental disability, and they say it's frankly pointless. And they didn't know that mum was going to see all this, but that's besides the point. This is what they're saying behind closed doors. It's absolutely disgusting.
Just to slip in at this point, if any of you are unaware, subject access requests are one of the best tools you can have in your toolkit.
Definitely.
They're free now as well.
Yeah, you used to have to pay a tenner, but they're free now.
To everyone for fun, make them earn their money. This year, so the dissent against Chelsea goes to the health board.
Yeah.
And again, this is kind of clarifying. So one of the first things which we've done with Chelsea, and this is another thing for your toolkit, there is nothing illegal about recording meetings with anybody.
They don't like it, but it's not illegal.
I had to start recording because we found out very early on that they were spinning. They were saying that I was saying things that I wasn't. They were saying that they weren't saying things that they were. So I had to start recording just for my protection, really, and to prove that I was telling the truth. So this is where all the recording came from.
And it became invaluable. And again, that turns into a legal argument in itself, because they again go away to seek legal advice and come back with crickets. The only issue that we've had in recent times, and it's not Chelsea, where you can't record, a judge ruled that in regard to...
It was a different case.
It was a different case, but they weren't allowed to record with the kids there. But that's irrelevant. Generally speaking, we haven't found any real stop to us being able to record. In Chelsea's case, we actually got the transcripts of 3 or 4 covert recordings accepted into court as evidence. I wouldn't, I wouldn't recommend that approach because the judge could have easily refused.
But he didn't in
So he
this
kind
case,
of
yeah.
jumped through hoops. But if you present the case law, then you can actually get covert recordings into court. But after that, she just proudly walks in and puts her phone down.
Everywhere I go now, my phone's straight
And they
bam
know.
on the table. Yeah.
And she records everyone and everything. And they behave.
Yeah.
It's a protection for you because they
Definitely
behave.
is safeguarding, isn't it?
So that's, and on the bottom, so this is the health board when they found out that Chelsea was recording. That bottom line, and I don't think it's why Chelsea wanted this slide in there, but it's quite relevant to me. Thank you, I agree completely. I am very wary of her way of dealing with things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they didn't want to go to the meetings with her anymore, but they have to. It's their job, it's what we pay them for.
Yeah.
This then, so with regards to the meeting that Chelsea spoke about, which they denied happened, and there was a big portion of that on the case, and they refused to look at it as well, funnily enough, but here is the notes from that meeting where it says, agreement for Chelsea's son to be removed from RSE lessons, and the two people advised this was appropriate due to developmental needs and behaviours that he displays, such as being a cat. Believe this behaviour of becoming a cat occurs when he... So they agreed this. This was written in the notes on the council. They denied that was ever said. Their defence for this in the tribunal hearing was that doesn't matter that it was said because it's not a full minute.
I don't even,
I
don't even know. That was just nonsense.
That is, it's just nonsense. I mean, you know.
Yeah, grasping.
So just to put that in there, I think we're doing all right in time, aren't we?
Yeah, we have that.
And then we've got, and I'm going to let Chelsea talk here because these are just some of the favoured paragraphs from the decision. The first ones are just pointing out. So
is this from the tribunal?
This is the tribunal decision. So we actually got to the Education Tribunal Wales. We had a hearing. This is the decision. We'll tell you what has actually happened since. But if I do the first bit, you can do your favourite bits then if you want to say. So, and this is regards the being able to have the child removed from RSE, because they'll all say, no, you can't, no, you can't, no, you can't. So in paragraph 11, whilst the LA had conceded that it could disapply the curriculum by utilising section 41 of the Curriculum and Assessment Act, as suggested by Ms Downes, it considered it should not do so. And in paragraph 24, the judge states, accordingly, it seems to us the LA is right to concede that the RSE curriculum can be disapplied by it. So
yeah.
This, funnily enough, on the Tribunal Wales Act, they publish their decisions on their website, and I checked the other day, and they're all on there except this one, ironically.
It's not on
it
there.
was March the 14th last year, this was handed down, and they haven't published this one, but there is more proof there that they can disapply the curriculum.
Yeah, so they'll tell you no, but
Circumstances.
actually
They all
you
say
absolutely
no, but they
can.
And that is also stated in the Isherwood case as well, and it's stated in legislation, section 41 and 42. Go on, you can do the last bit.
And then my favourite paragraph then, which is paragraph 42, is that they've agreed that the school can remove Nikki from any content that I find inappropriate. We have to have a meeting every single term. I think, am I the only person
I think
in
you
Wales
you might be. Kim
that
is
actually sees
Yeah.
the lesson content?
Before.
Have you been in any lessons?
He's been taken out of every single thing that I've asked them to take him out of so far.
Got him out.
So I don't know what it's going
And
to be like
you've
after this
also,
now.
Charles, you've also safeguarded a whole class or a whole year group
Yeah,
on two
yeah.
occasions,
Yeah.
which the parents of those children would know nothing about, to be honest, because Chelsea gets to see the resources first and brings those up to the teachers in two occasions. They've agreed with Chelsea that it is dangerous and therefore they haven't taught it at all. So she safeguarded the whole thingy.
I think we're nearly done. But this goes back to something Kim said as well, where there is case law in England where it's not in the public interest for the parent to see the curriculum or the lesson plan before school. If you look at paragraph 41 in Chelsea's case, we, obviously the tribunal, have therefore concluded that the IDP, that's his Independent Development Plan, I almost said his name, should specify that the proposed curriculum is sent to Miss Downes at the start of each half term. So that is in defiance of English case law as well. She's achieved massive...
Yeah. Is there any more slides on here? Just to finish? No, that's it. Do you want to say anything, Charles? No, just to finish off?
Absolutely amazing. You guys really are. I would never, ever have done any of this. I'd have been way too scared to challenge anyone if I didn't have you guys behind me.
Oh, bless you. Well, you took it there. You took it there. You're the brave one.
Again, I have mentioned it, but we do various things for various people, and one of the most frustrating things, so many people just want us to do everything for them.
Exactly.
Chelsea does everything, and she, like I said, when I say she's the dog with a bone, she's absolutely awesome, and we wouldn't have got this far if, as Paul said, she doesn't challenge, and she doesn't fight, and she doesn't make herself a pain in the backside. But these results speak for themselves. As far as we're aware, she's the only mum to get her child out of RSE lessons.
In the UK? In the UK? Right, there you go then, you two. Thank you very much. Thank you. Give them a round of applause again, guys.